We're live because there's only one person watching right now. Partly because I posted the stream at the last possible second. All right, got the news lined up. Things today. I guess I'll mention in the meta bit the panel that at least I will be doing at PAX Unplugged by myself, possibly with you if you decide at the last minute you want to come.
It seems unlikely.
Yeah, it's if there's no traffic, it's a really short round trip, but Philly traffic Friday, we'll see. All right. All right, I guess let's get going. Let me just point this at the right browser. Chrome. This is, which Chrome do I want to point this at? I want to point this at the Twitter Chrome. Yes. Oh, we doubled the listeners. People must have gotten the notification. All right, did you hit record?
Yeah, I hit it a long time ago.
All right, I'll just go. It's Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we are talking about the manga Jujutsu Kaisen. So, in my continued exciting life of biking to and from work on city bikes, as it's gotten colder so far, there are no more city bikes than there were before. Like, they run out at the same rate now that they did a month ago, despite the fact that it was 48 degrees when I biked to work.
Well, 48 Fahrenheit, it's not that cold. You know, I mean, it's cold for me, but I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not that cold.
I was a little chilly because I don't wear a coat. Like, I was just wearing my normal, like, work clothes. I think I got to get the biking coat out at this point.
If you look at historical city bike numbers, it's like they go down when it's cold, but they don't go down that much.
Well, in fact, did we use this as a thing today, or did we just talk about it? I think we just talked about it. Anyway, there's a video that got into a lot of research, and the conclusion of this research across multiple studies was that the weather in a place has zero impact on the rate of people commuting to work via bike, using bikes in summer, winter, different seasons, or anything. The sole correlation between people biking or not biking is if the place is more car-friendly or more bike-friendly, full stop. So in parts of Finland, people bike everywhere, even in the snow, because there's bike lanes. And then in places like Canada, no one bikes because Canada doesn't support bikes for shit.
I mean, it's just a matter of, attitude, right? It's like, you look at, people in Netherlands, it's like, oh, it's raining. I'll put on a big piece of plastic and I'll go bike, right? And
so that European umbrella I use, the weird one that I imported that I like and I talk about a lot, get this. It actually has, I never bought this because this is a product aimed at Europeans. It is a mount so you can stick it on the front of your bike. And because it's so aerodynamic, you can bike up to 20 miles an hour without it having a problem. And if you also have
unnecessary when you could just buy, the cloak thingy.
Depends. I saw videos of it, and if you're the kind of person who's biking around a city in Europe where you're biking real slow on a real slow bike, like the same kind of bike you'd have like a coffee cup holder on, and you have fenders and all that stuff, it looks like it works really well.
The brand. Oh, that's right. That's the brand. So if you want to bike in the rain and not get wet, and you're not like biking fast, you're just biking.
Yeah, biking fast, just embrace wetness at that point.
Right. The brand that I have heard good things about is Cleverhood. So
I've seen them around,
and they look pretty cool actually.
I should actually maybe think about getting something because now that there's really no reason to have an unlimited Metro card anymore in New York, I just pay every time I ride the subway because I don't ride it that often. So maybe I'll just like double down on biking even more than I do now.
Yeah. I remember though, that it reminds me, I can't find, it's one of those things where it's like one tweet, it would be impossible to find again because Twitter search is so awful.
Yep.
Right. But somebody tweeted and they showed like an American children's school book that was like, oh, it's raining, let's not go outside, right? Oh, it's, let's,
that is such an attitude that has bothered me my whole life, that people will just like avoid getting wet unless they have a good reason not to. Like if you're wearing fancy clothes, like you want to avoid getting wet. But if I'm walking to work and it suddenly pours, who cares? I'll just be wet. Like, fine.
But the children's book from, in Northern Europe was like, oh, biking in the rain, an adventure, right? Like a different attitude. Yeah.
I just imagine the one from Eastern Europe is like goblins will eat you.
I don't know what it is. But...
So anyway, I once again have a minor city bike adventure. So I got a city bike in the middle of the day to go pick up my new glasses. I'll bike over, get the glasses, bike back. And there happened to be one e-bike. So I took it because it cost like 80 cents to use that thing.
Was the battery dead?
Nope, totally fine. It was so if you use those e-bikes often enough in New York, the thing is, about a third of them just don't work, and you have to put them right back in the dock because you can't bike that thing. It weighs
I've never
so
even
much.
tried to take the e-bike.
They're real good when they work, but about a third of them just don't work, and you just have to
and you
say
also
it doesn't
pay
work.
Extra.
Yeah, it's like 4 cents a minute, and the first 10 minutes are free or something. It's like almost nothing.
It's 0 cents a minute if I take the regular one and use my leg.
Yep, but if I don't want to get sweaty and I'm trying to get to work, it's so cheap. It's cheaper than the subway and faster than the subway.
Another way to not get sweaty is don't pedal so hard.
Oh, no, it's never going to happen.
Just chill.
Plus, if I pedal slow enough to not work up a sweat, the 7 train is faster than a city bike. But an e-bike or my real bike...
in a hurry?
I'm always in a hurry. I always leave. If I need to be at work in 15 minutes, I leave with 13 minutes.
I'm just enjoying going on my bike.
I enjoy biking.
Why would I be in a hurry when I could bike more?
No, I'll be in a hurry, but I'll also bike more. Anyway, so I get on this thing. It's working fine. I'm biking like to the optics place in Kips Bay, and I'm using only the front brake because really you only need a front brake on a bike. It's the better brake. We've talked about this before. People who don't know how to use bike brakes. When I was turning a corner onto like 2nd Avenue, I used the rear brake because I was turning and I just wanted to slow down because there's a bunch of traffic and shit. The rear brake screeched. Now, that happens. Like even a nice bike will like screech if it's a little wet or something. It was so loud. The cars around me all like stopped suddenly. Everyone on the street like stopped and turned to look. A cop like started looking around like what's going on. It was so loud that it stopped traffic and people on 2nd Avenue.
All right.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I yell like, sorry, this city bike sucks shit. And everyone starts laughing. And then I bike further and just to test, I try it again. It's even louder.
Okay.
It hurt my ears. My ears were literally ringing. So I parked it and I reported it broken. And I was like, it is dangerously loud if you use the rear brake. I don't know how this even happened. That's my story. That's the most exciting thing that's happened to me since Tuesday when I realized the next morning the episode didn't actually post.
Uh-oh.
It's on Patreon, but it's still not on the GeekNights website until Scott fixes it.
Well, I guess I'll have to do something about that.
Yep. No rush, because it's the Patreon people all got it, and no one complained yet, so...
Great.
But, there's some news. I think the biggest news... There's a lot of news we could talk about. I'm not even going to say anything more about that Cowboy Bebop live action. We'll see it, and then we'll just review it at this point. But in comic world, the workers of Image Comics announced on November 1st, 2 days ago, that they have unionized. That is a big goddamn deal.
So does that... So all the different comic publishers, right, have different ways that they manage the creators of the comics, the writers, artists, colorers, inkers, and such, right? With like, in terms of like you make one-off deals, you do contracts, you do they're permanent, exclusive employees, and some of them do this in combination. Right?
There's the way labor organizes, like practically and theoretically, is really complex, and a lot of people, especially tech bros, don't really appreciate the complexity of this space. Right.
And I sort of forget all the different ways the different comic companies do it, and they all have histories of good and or bad things going on there, right? And some of them, wax and wane, right? You'll see some like a company being really popular with creators and then doing someone dirty and then becoming really unpopular with creators, and like creators, artists, writers know to stay away from that company because
then you get the companies like the Tokyo Pop era and like the opposite situation.
Exactly. One to stay away from, right? But you can usually tell because you look at the company and you can see over time, right? It's like, in this year to this year, look at all those books that company published from all these great creators. And then what do they publish now? Like nothing. It's because they've done they did something dirty, and everyone left to stay away from them.
Even case in point, in the video game world, we'll talk about this in the next Tuesday show. Blizzard, we talked about them a bunch, all the sexual harassment and nonsense that happens there, as happens in every AAA studio. But not only did they fire a ton of people, which was the right thing to do, but all the people who didn't seem to be bad and were just good game designers have also quit during all of this. Now a bunch of their games are delayed, and it's not clear if they'll even be able to keep making good games at this point.
We'll see. But anyway, so this image union, right? I'm not sure if it includes everyone, right? Because usually the writers of an Image comic aren't going to be an employee of Image Comics, right? But the editors at Image Comics might be.
Yep. And I haven't read everything about it yet.
Printing and marketing and also, a lot. They do have a lot of employees that are permanent, full-time, or even part-time employees of Image Comics directly. But most of the people who are writing and drawing the books, I don't believe are employees.
So here's what I can
know if they are part of the union.
Here's what I can say now about what this union is. It is a larger union than normal. It is called the Comic Book Workers United. I'll actually read the statement they gave. Quote, "For years, comics publishing have watched our professional efforts support creators and delight readers. Sadly, we have also watched the same labor be taken for granted at best and exploited at worst. Keeping our heads above water was the new normal before the pandemic, and since its onset, we've been expected to take on even larger workloads with fewer resources."
That's everybody. That's not just comic workers.
That is literally,
all laborers.
As an aside, if any of you are a product manager, literally my level of seniority, we're hiring. I'm hiring people to work next to me as a peer. We're hiring engineers. We're hiring fucking everything right now, and we can't fill these positions.
There's definitely, the same amount of work to be done in businesses that haven't failed, and less people doing that work. So yeah, it's a thing.
Yep.
Everywhere.
And it also talks about how contract employees are particularly vulnerable and exploited in the comics industry specifically.
Extremely, yeah.
Yep.
Almost everyone in the comic industry is on some kind of contract deal. There's very few full-time employee situations, only editors in chief and that sort of thing,
Yep. So I'll link to their official statement and a Gizmodo article that goes into a lot of details. But I encourage you to just read about this and understand exactly what this union is doing, especially if you work in this industry, because this is the time to work in solidarity with another group that is already unionized to either make a bigger union or make a union structured similarly. There's this is the moment if you work in this industry.
Now, the only thing about this particular case here of comic book industry in the United States that I think might be an issue is that you look at these other unions we've been seeing, right? Yahtzee, it's they're working on movies that have huge budgets and make a fortune, right?
Yeah, comics don't really make that much money by comparison.
Video game people, right? It's there is, Blizzard or whatever, right? Or any of these places, there are people at the top, right, who are fucking loaded and there's high, margins. And somebody's raking in the bank, and the union is just gonna, hopefully be able to take some of that money out from the top and distribute it down low.
But there are industries where there is not enough money, and if workers were paid fairly, the entire industry disappears.
I don't know if Image Comics can sustain not exploiting the labor while also having the same quantity and quality of work, and also not jacking up the price of comic books to ridiculous heights that almost no one would buy them.
Though arguably the prices
catch-22
the prices
of this product can only exist at an affordable price, even forgetting inflation even, without the exploitation.
Well, there's a few things going on there.
Image Comics just go under? What's going to happen?
On one hand, entertainment is extremely cheap compared to the cost of creating entertainment globally right now.
The problem with just comics fundamentally is
and video games,
create
movies.
Right, but the difference is that if you create a video game, it creates an enormous amount of labor. It sells at a low price, but you
got 100 years of selling this thing.
You sell so many copies, it sells forever. It doesn't go away. And you can also do gambling and other nonsense to bring in more money. With a comic book, to create even just a normal floppy 30-page color comic book is a very large effort. It could take, you know, the artist all fucking month.
And people are willing to pay, what, a couple bucks for it? They read it in 5 minutes and they throw it away.
They pay it $3 for it, right? As soon as it's a week old, it's not worth the $3 anymore. And it's like, unless it was some significant, incredible comic, you know, it's like, okay, maybe it'll sell again in trades or digitally a little bit.
Or it'll get optioned for a movie, but even then, not a lot of money goes to the creators of those comics when that happens.
And the quantity of them that's available is so high. So even really fucking good ones are just like, you know, lost to time, basically. And even if one's a hit, the market size, the pie of comic book readers in the United States who read, you know, comic books that are made by people in English originally, is not that large to begin with. So even some comic book that gets a large portion of that pie for a week, it's like, you know, was there even enough revenue to pay the creators alone, forgetting all the other people involved, you know, a decent wage for the month? So
So, like, we should be like a video game should cost hundreds of dollars if we actually took into account inflation and labor and everything else. Comics are the same way. So we're going to be in a situation.
Just do the simple math, right? It's like you want someone to make $70K a year median income. Divide that by 12. Let me get my calculator. All right.
Well, while you do that, what I'll say is what's going to happen here.
So you need to make, for the one person, you need to get about $6,000, right? So a month. So you've got how many people working on the comic book? You at least have writer, artist, colorer, letterer. That's 4. So $18,000, right? For just those 4 people. We're not talking about, you know, the people at the print shop, the people, right? Because they're working on multiple books. And, you know, editor, I guess, so 6 people, right?
What about all the material costs? Printing itself?
Exactly, right? But so
digital? Oh, great. Now, so Amazon takes a cut. That doesn't help.
You need to sell tens of thousands of copies of your comic book and give all of the revenue, all of it, to the creators to be able to make that. And now you've still got the comic book shops taking a cut. You've got the distributors taking a cut. You got the distributor giving out discounts. You've got the bosses at the comic company taking a cut. You know, you might have licensing deals like, you know, My Little Pony comic, Transformers comic. There's licensing fees to pay, right, for whatever the deal was. Right? All this money's taken out of the $3 they're charging or whatever.
What all of this combined means is that if we truly want a labor movement that forces living wages for things, a lot of industries are literally going to go under, and that is just because those industries could not exist safely, fairly, or equitably under our current economic system. So,
and if even if you manage to kickstart the cycle of higher wages, higher prices, right? So, okay, people are getting paid more, you know, things cost more, but hopefully the only things that cost more are things like comic books and not things like food. Right? If you can get wages up, keep the food price normal, and, you know, it's okay if the prices of luxury goods go up, because the higher wages, everyone can live well because the necessities are a good price. And then, luxury goods are expensive. They're luxury goods.
Well, case in point, we always talk to Australia as an example. They have a very high minimum wage. Everything's really expensive except food, unless that food is imported. So people have a pretty high average quality of life. And also, they can still afford things, but they can't afford, like, imported luxury IP goods like a My Little Pony backpack will cost them like $100, so they can't buy as much crap like that. But food costs about what it costs here, just in Australian dollars. So it ends up being much better for the average person.
Right, but I think that's the situation in which, you know, you have to get, even if you get to that situation, right? You know, there isn't an Australian comics books. There are Australian comic creators for sure, right? But there isn't an Australian comics publishing industry that's big,
but
like a machine, the way the Japanese or French or
if the Japanese, European, and American comics industries contracted massively due to a labor movement, that would open up the global stage for more global comic production with less competition from these heavily subsidized by human misery companies There's
I think it just makes life better for the people who are making purely digital comics because you only have the creators to make money, right? You don't have to worry about all those other people. They're,
yeah. But in the short term, irrespective of the like broader meta consequences of organizing like that, you as a worker should absolutely organize because whatever happens later has to start with us actually putting pressure on these companies and putting pressure on our broken capitalist system.
Yeah, even if you destroy, it's like if you're at a job where you're being exploited, right? Your choices are continue to be exploited, make a union, and maybe you can not be exploited and keep your job, which would be, I guess, the best situation, right?
Yep.
Or you start the union and you destroy your company, and it's like, well,
but fuck them at that point. Yeah,
right, you're not being exploited at this point. Go get a non-exploity job someplace else, I guess. But it's like some people could see that as worse than being exploited because now you have nothing.
Yeah, but
it could be
that
scary,
worse
right?
also means that if like this is what leads up to critical moments in like labor policies, large enough strikes force government or private equity action. That's the whole point of direct action. Like a general strike is the surest way to force a government to make drastic changes, even if the people in that government do not want to make those changes.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to get a general strike because if not everyone is on board, if the strike's not big enough, the people who scab come out on top in the end. Or they replace the people who are trying to fight for better wages. Wages actually drop even lower. Workers are exploited more. And the individuals who tried to organize are just left out of the economy forever.
Yeah. I mean, you also might just end up causing yourself a lot of pain and misery for nothing, right? If you look in New York.
Small strikes don't work.
The cabbies are on a hunger strike down there to try to get the medallion loans fixed.
Yep.
Right.
Normal people who aren't
still down there not eating
because the government doesn't care, and people who use cars a lot also don't care because they all just use Uber or something. Nor they even know that this is happening because they don't read the news or like talk to people. So. Anyway, and some other
like if I don't understand like how cold is the mayor, right? If I was mayor, I'd be like, please don't die. I'm going to fix this right now.
Yeah. Well, New York mayors do not have a history of taking.
I would have fixed it long before they had to do a hunger strike.
Yeah, but step 1, ban Uber in New York City. Full stop. Number 2, ban Lyft in New York City. Full stop.
Step 3, cancel all medallion debt. Period. Just cancel it, like student loan debt.
Fully nationalize the taxis and make them part of the NTA.
Something like that.
Anyway, it's communism here on GeekNights tonight, but one other little news. Aggretsuko did get picked up. They have announced that there is a 4th season coming.
I only ever watched season 1. I don't know what's even going on that they could...
So what I will say is the show definitely got better and better and better as it went on. Season 2 was far superior to season 1. Season 3 was far superior. It goes more serious. The issues that it kind of like in season 1, it really like danced around these babies first like workplace and sexism issues. Season 2 was like, nope, look at that guy right there. That's a problem. Season 3, like she's got a stalker and like shit goes down. The show is getting more and more real as it goes on, and it's not the best show. Like I'm not like heavily looking forward to this, but if season 4 were out right now, I would probably watch an episode tonight because I've run out of all the shows I'm watching right now. Speaking of shows that I might watch again and that you should watch, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Shoujou Kakumei Utena, is now on Crunchyroll.
All right, so I mean, this show hasn't really been hard to watch.
It was on YouTube legally for free. Like Nozomi.
On YouTube legally for quite a period of time. But
I've got 3 different DVD box sets of this fucking show.
Yeah, but if for some reason you still haven't seen it or you want to watch it again, it's on Crunchyroll as of today, supposedly. I didn't actually go check, but they say it is. So.
And before you ask, no, we are not continuing the Utena analysis show, even though it is 1, super fun to do, and 2, super popular. The problem is I have been threatened with lawsuits and had problems so many times that we're basically never going to make anime content on YouTube ever again. Full stop.
Let's just make some, some non-YouTube, right? We'll get videos.
No, it's not. I don't even. It's not even worth the effort.
Maybe I could set it up. We'll see.
You could set it up. You could do it. I've seen that people have been getting anime takedowns on Twitch and other platforms too. And
I'm talking about like put videos, MP4s, in an S3 bucket, right, and then use
Oh, you want to continue our anime reviews bootleg style?
Right, an HTML5 video tag, right, embed it in the webpage.
Try to get a partnership where we sponsor the Blab and the Blab hosts it for us.
Just get a CDN, or we could put them on. What if we put it on one of those people are using the porn sites to host things?
Yeah. The other thing we could do is, if we do it that way, we could also get it on YouTube via burner accounts, and as they get sued, we just put up more burner accounts.
Maybe that's what we should do. Like make a, go on that. There's a guy teaching like calculus on one of the porn sites, I think.
Yeah, we could make it a straight up OnlyFans kind of thing where we'll do the Utena show for you if you're like in there. The other way we could do it, you know what doesn't get copyright takedown?
OnlyFans, and you pay for it. And
the other place we could actually do this.
If we made them unlisted, but then put them to Patreon only, would.
Yep, unlisted still gets flagged. I had unlisted videos flagged and give me strikes.
Okay.
Another way to go would be to host them directly like we did, but hide them. And the only place that link exists is via Patreon. And Patreon actually has some deals with some streaming platforms that don't seem to have any sort of copyright enforcement.
We could put them in like free Patreon posts that anyone could see.
Yeah.
You click this link and it just goes to a video file on a CDN.
We'll
download it and watch it in VLC.
Yep, because I have a lot more legal avenues to protect us if Patreon gets a DMCA than if like YouTube does. Because YouTube,
but all Patreon has is a link. They don't have the video. The DMCA would have to go to who's hosting the video, which should be like Amazon Web Services.
Which would be 9 proxies of. There's no way something like that would get to the point in the court where the lawyer is literally like, so this bootleg video that was linked to from a site that you control but you claim you have nothing to do with clearly shows 2 individuals who look exactly like you.
No, we would say, let's watch the video. Does this look like a bootleg of the anime Utena?
Yeah. The problem is
us reviewing it Siskel and Ebert style. What is not fair use about this?
So the problem is, because of the way fair use is, even if you have absolutely sacrosanct fair use, the courts often will just rule against you anyway, and you have no fucking recourse. The courts.
That's all right. We'll get
because it's an affirmative defense.
We'll get a lawyer who's had a fair use case victories before, and
Yeah. Anyway. Just leave a little space there. Things of the day. So check this out. I found this YouTube channel, and it's just this dude, Steve Wallace, and what he seems to do is try to camp in places you're not allowed to camp in novel ways. So, like, find a rich suburb, just camp, like, in the street, like in a U-Haul in that suburb, and goes through all the techniques to like not die, survive, not get caught by the cops, not have a weird neighbor like come out with a gun and bother you. He does things like camp inside of a culvert, camp behind a police station and not get noticed by the cops, camp on the side of the freeway. I'm going to link to one that was pretty fun. It's a little long. It's like a half hour. U-Haul stealth camping in a negative 35 degree weather day in a U-Haul.
Yeah, I watched part of it and I got worried when he was using a fuel burning heater.
Nope. But he covers that right away. He's like, before you get worried.
I got a carbon monoxide detector and I got a vent open, and I'm like, that's still probably not great, but I guess you didn't die.
He's also got a low oxygen shutoff and a couple other things going on.
Yep, that's true.
It's just real fun kind of thing. It's very adjacent to the urban exploration stuff I like to do. And this kind of thing looks real fun. I would love to see some people like do this at nerd conventions with the caveat that you've got to have a way to shower, or I do not condone you doing this.
So there's my thing of the day. There's a thing that happens very often in this world where a book will have a very, books in particular, there's just so many of them, will have, such a small amount of interest and a small print run and never be printed again. But that book might be actually quite significant or important, perhaps to a niche or even a larger group of people. And if the book has never been scanned and put on the internet, or is not like in enough libraries, it could be a very inaccessible book, right? So such that people know it exists. And new people come around and are born into the world who are interested in the topic of that book and just can't get it, right? It's like cannot be gotten. But they know about the book, and it's very frustrating. So this is one of those situations. There is a book called Cartoon Modern, and it's basically a book all about basically mid 20th century, cartoon art.
Oh my
UPA
God, I love this UPA kind of style.
Right.
Like the
So
Pink
UPA
Panther
style,
was often in this style.
If you don't know what UPA style means, just click on my thing of the day, and as soon as you see the images, you'll be like, oh, that aesthetic. Yeah, like the best fucking aesthetic ever. That one, right?
Just type UPA. Just type UPA style into Google Images, and a cornucopia will open for you.
Yep, pretty much. You'll know exactly, what's being talked about here. So, this is basically like the ultimate, sort of Holy Grail-esque book about UPA style animation. And the creator of that book said on the internet, right? Man, it's a shame that book isn't out there. I wish someone would just scan it and put it online. So if you go to this thing of the day, this article written about the book, they just scanned that fucker in as best they could, and you could just click and download a 319 megabyte PDF and get the damn book.
Real good.
As it should be. So, get this book before something happens to it. I mean, I got the PDF. You can always get it from me, but you can still download it from this link.
I downloaded this within 3 seconds of Scott posting this link to me.
Yeah, you can get the CBZ also.
So
also read the article that goes into great detail about what the deal is.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be reading the articles there, but after I look at all those beautiful images, it's hard to express how much I love that style of animation in particular.
That's the style. I don't know why,
In the meta moment, the GeekNights book club book, Tale of Genji. I've resumed reading it because it only took me like a half hour to read the first volume of this manga we're going to talk about. And
pretty much.
As Scott mentioned last time, the GeekNights newsletter has a microsite. You can go subscribe to it. It's on our website. We're working on our website redesign. We found someone to work with us who we are paying to make our website better. Our last PAX panel is on our website, Atari Game Design from PAX East Online 2021. At least not likely, there's like a 0.1% chance Scott will be there too. I will be at PAX Unplugged on Friday between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. doing a panel, which is a updated rewrite of a panel we did a draft version of years ago at MagFest called Rare Game Mechanics, but I'm rewriting it based on how that went the first time and focusing entirely on tabletop. I'm literally going to roll into the con, do this panel, and immediately go back home. It's up to you if you want to go to the con, but I will tell you right now, you do not need to go to PAX Unplugged to see this panel because, of course, I'm going to bring all the fucking equipment. I'm going to record it. It's going to be on YouTube that weekend, by Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So,
yeah, I
guess that's what you want to do. Go ahead.
It's like an hour-ish. It's not a long drive. I'll just drive there, do it, and drive back.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that's pretty much all we got. Let's get ready to this main bit because I'm already getting a little hungry here. So, apparently this manga and anime are popular.
Yeah, so what I did is I went and I was like, hey, let's do an episode on something that, usually it's like something that I was into and then I tell Rim to watch or read it or vice versa, right? I'm like, let's go find, the popular thing these days that neither of us care about and will probably never read or watch otherwise.
Yep.
And go check it out and see what the deal is.
Because we say with Judge Anime by its cover, ignore anything that isn't obviously good for you because the internet will tell you later. So occasionally we have to make sure that we haven't missed something that everyone's talking about and we're ignoring.
Mm-hmm. So I went to Amazon and I clicked on they have a page, bestsellers in manga, comics, graphic novels. And I guess right now Jujutsu Kaisen only has one entry in the top. Oh no, it has two entries in the top 20. Number 9 and number 17. But at the time that I checked, it had several, 4 or 5 volumes were up there in the top 20.
As of October 2021, as of last month, Jujutsu Kaisen, the manga, has over 55 million copies in circulation, and the prequel to it, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, combined with the regular run, make it one of the best-selling manga of all time.
Right. So I don't know if it's at the My Hero Academia One Piece level. I don't know if it's it might be
I think I have the list.
level.
I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's a little bit behind Chainsaw Man, a little bit, but not much. You know, it's basically one of the big shonen mangas these days, right? It's been around for a while, actually. It's not that new. It's
not in the top 20, but it's in the top 50. Oh, you know what? You know what the next most popular manga is? Initial D.
No. Okay. Cool.
It's above Ranma 1/2 and below Initial D.
But you're looking at like an all-time list.
This is an all-time list.
I'm talking about like the now list.
Yep.
Right. Regardless, Jujutsu Kaisen, all I knew was that, yes, I recognize that name. That is the name of a shonen anime / manga that I have never watched or read and know nothing about, other than that it's a popular shonen. And I said, well, it seems to be really popular. It's been around for a while. It's not super new, but not super old. And I could just get the first volume digitally and read it. And why not? It shouldn't take long. A shonen manga doesn't take long to read at all. And then we could do an episode on it. So that's what we did. We read the first volume of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I can tell you that it is indeed a shonen manga.
Yeah, it's
the end.
It is so shonen manga that you could almost like predict like when they go to meet the principal of the magic school, who's gonna like determine if the guy gets to go into the magic school. As soon as I saw him, I was like, that's gonna be the guy who seems weird and flippant and not that powerful, but actually is a big deal. And there's gonna be like a big turnabout right there, and they're gonna let him into the school. You can predict everything that's gonna happen. Not the specific details of how a fight will go down.
This is the first shonen manga or that you've ever read. There is an anime. I didn't watch that, but
nope.
I assume it's just the same thing.
Yep, I assume so too. But reading it, all it made me want to do is stop reading it and go read more Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. You know, if you're talking about recent shonen mangas that are popular that we personally have read,
I can't think of anything that makes this stand out to me at all.
Right. Those are the only two that we have experience with that are new and popular at shonens.
Yep.
And Chainsaw Man has some uniqueness to it. Right. It's not just executing on the formula.
Chainsaw Man leaves mysteries early on unresolved that I'm interested in. It also goes a lot harder, moves a lot faster, and every time I think it's gonna follow a shonen trope, it like jumps miles past what I would expect to be an entire arc.
Well, it also just visually, Chainsaw Man, the aesthetic, right? This dude with two fucking chainsaws coming out of his face, right? It's like, you look at Jujutsu Kaisen, it's very well drawn. The art is actually quite incredible.
And the faces jump around, like there are really funny faces in the background often.
Yeah, I think probably the thing that sells it the most is the art. It really reminds, especially the backgrounds, are so, beautiful architecturally, the way like the backgrounds in Death Note are.
Yeah.
But like nothing like is cool. It's like, okay, that's a anime monster. It's not particularly cool or memorable or awesome in any way. It's just, they're using some powers. Okay, their powers are strength and shit.
Oh, look, the protagonist is weirdly powerful and no one can explain why.
Yeah, so just short plot summary of Volume 1. There's a character who's clearly the protagonist, the good guy. He's super strong for no reason. He's in school. There's school shit going on, right?
Yep.
But it's not a transported to another world scenario. It's the second thing where it's like, actually, there's stuff going on in the real world, but only some people see it and know about it. So even though we're not going to physically transport you to a different world, you're going to sort of enter this under society where this other stuff is happening.
Like Yu Yu Hakusho did that to a degree.
I mean, Cardcaptor Sakura, there's this whole world Sailor Moon. This whole world, right? Meanwhile, of Earth people doing Earth shit. But meanwhile, there's this galactic battle happening that the normal Earth people don't know about. It's not news, right? It's, the sailors are in this other world where they have to battle while still being in the normal Earth world at the same time. Same old trope here. There's a world of like these curses, some kind of demonic thing going on.
Curse with a capital C. They're like Evangelion angel monster type things, but most of them are really weak, and there's a whole thing with them that's not exciting.
Only some people can see and detect them and fight them, and they're bad.
They're caused by human hope and human fear and traumatic events and all this generic stuff.
Yep, they hang out near bad places, right? And there's this one mega demon. I guess this is this real similar to...
There's a Vecna.
Yeah, it's really similar to Chainsaw Man, actually, where they're collecting the pieces of the gun devil, right?
That was as soon as they were like, he ate the finger, and then they're like, oh yeah, so there's a bunch more of these fingers. We got to collect them all. That's clearly the plot.
Yeah, just like, I guess at least there's less fingers than there are crystal shards in Inuyasha. But there's more than there are One Pieces in One Piece, where there's only one.
There's only one. There's one piece.
One piece. This is like, I don't know, how many pieces did they say there were? Does he have 4 hands?
He has 4 arms.
So there's 20 fingers, I think?
Yep, so there's 20 fingers this kid has to physically eat, and they're Vecna-looking fingers. They're just like these mummified, horrible little jerkies.
Yeah, they belong to some old evil dude, so he's going to get all the fingers, and then he's got to somehow contain the evil dude within himself by will, or become the evil dude. And if the evil dude takes over his body, he's already super strong, so that would be kind of bad. If that happened, I'm sure it will. But yeah,
yada yada. He ends up being inducted into the Magic Ninja Warrior School. That is just a normal high school, but everyone there is doing the same kind of thing he's doing.
Yep. It's right now. The question is, why is this such a ridiculously popular shonen manga among the shonen mangas? And the only things I can say is either A, something must happen in a future volume that shakes it up, right?
Yep.
I don't know if there is such a thing because I haven't read past volume 1, but nothing in volume 1 suggests that's coming, but I'm open to that possibility.
Clearly there's a twist where...
They started out following the formula and they said, this isn't working, right? Let's do something off the wall, and that's what made Jujutsu Kaisen a big deal. And if that's the case, and it's the case, please tell me in which volume that occurs, because if it's volume 2, I might read it, maybe. But if it's 3 or higher, no chance. I'm not.
Yep.
It's not happening. Or it just follows the shonen formula, and that's still a successful thing that you can do these days. The end.
I'm scrolling through the Wikipedia now, looking at so far everything I've skimmed over giant long arcs does not imply that there is anything different that's going to happen from the kind of things we already read. It's, how I describe it? Take the feel of Naruto and cross it with the feel of Chainsaw Man, set it in modern day Japan, and make everything less extreme.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to say the creator, right? Gege Akutami, which might be a pen name or might not be. This creator, it says in the book here, they published a few short works before starting Jujutsu Kaisen, which began in Shonen Jump in 2018. So this is this person's first big, real deal, ongoing manga that they've ever made. Right. So for them to get such a big hit off the bat, basically, right? The only things they did before this were little short deals. It's like, well, that's actually, and seeing the art, I guess that might, be a contributing factor. But yeah, I don't know. I guess if you really like the shonen formula, I like the shonen formula, but only when there's an extra spice on it, right?
Yeah.
You get JoJo's gives you an extra spice of style, right?
Yeah.
Fist of the North Star gives you an extra spice of exploding heads. Chainsaw Man, extra spice of chainsaws.
Yep. Right? Initial D. It's got the music.
Right. One Punch Man started off with some special spice, but lately it's been going, the only thing it has left really nowadays that they're sort of gotten away. I might stop reading it even though that might sound horrifying, because they've really gotten away from the whole Saitama One Punch Man thing. It's now about all the other characters just doing shonen battle stuff. And the only thing that really has merit is the fact that all the characters are really well designed, interesting, fun characters, right? Like Puri Puri Prisoner and stuff, right? But I've seen enough of Puri Puri Prisoner. He's not as funny. Just showing him to me again and again, it doesn't stay funny. So I don't know how long One Punch Man can hold out.
Yeah. But it's hard to...
This doesn't even hold out past volume 1.
I do have a theory I've always thought about, that there's this ebb and flow of shonen where, in general, any random person who starts reading manga anywhere in the world, if they've never encountered shonen before, they often get into it. Like everyone gets into one. Like it happens.
It is a really good formula, and
if you don't know the deal, like you don't know what's coming, you just see this like long power creep, long arcs. You get into these characters. I see why people get pulled in, but then I see the second shonen manga, the third one, and the fourth one. I see they're all the same. I think every time a shonen manga comes out, the crucial factor is how big is the previous big one still, and will new people getting inducted into the world of shonen read the one that's already big, or is there a lull and they read a different one, and it might and whichever one is new that is the best or just there at the right time becomes the next big one.
I mean, to its credit, while this is just a standard shonen formula, it is well executed.
Oh yeah,
right? It's like
it moves quickly. It has
there's nothing like bad about this. It's not like, oh, there's this hard. It's really poorly drawn.
The dialogue's pretty good. The characters are all really different and really funny. When the girl and the dumbass protagonist are both just petting the spirit dog instead of dealing with the crap.
Yeah, it's like there is nothing bad about this shonen manga. It's just so because I'm old, I've seen this 1,000 times, and there's nothing special to recommend it over any of the other options in the same.
So I'd almost say I wouldn't recommend reading it. If you've never read shonen or you think you might like shonen, read either One Piece or Naruto and see if you like that. And if you do, but you wanted something a little more hardcore or weird, go read Chainsaw Man.
If you've never read a shonen before, you should stick to the special ones that I mentioned, right? The ones that have something extra going on, right? You don't want to read the boring everyday ones.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you like Chainsaw Man and Naruto and just want more of that kind of stuff, this might be like the best possible manga for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are people out there who just will eat up this formula no matter how many times it's regurgitated, and you could do worse than this one.
If that's you, this is one of the better ones by far.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage shonens out there that are poorly drawn, right? That the plot doesn't make sense. Like Bleach is way worse than this thing.
Oh my god.
Right? So,
and at least this doesn't do the thing that I'm still mad at Yu Yu Hakusho for, because that show persisted longer than most shonen do on being more about the school and more fun, and then it turned into shonen, and I almost didn't realize it at first. And I'm still mad at Naruto for giving up on awesome ninja school hijinks and turning into a shonen fighting show. If Naruto had just been ninja school over the years and then ninja school the college years, might have kept reading and watching that, but Yeah,
I do feel, it's only based on volume 1, so I guess you can't really, get a good feel for the pacing based on that, because you have all the introductory parts.
It does move pretty quick.
Right. But it's not a sequence of fights, right? Even when they start fighting monsters, it doesn't feel like this is going to become, the timing of it is going to be like, oh, every chapter they have to fight a monster, like a tournament kind of deal.
Nah.
It feels like it's going to, follow that sort of back and forth pattern where, here's the part where they're talking and working on things. And then
like the first big fight they really have is with it actually one of the most dangerous possible things. And it kind of leans into that.
Right. So Chainsaw Man has that same structure, right? Which I think is a more modern structure of, okay, here's the downtime where all these characters talk and sort out their deal and whatever. And then the thing happens and now they go into initial
chapters
where there's an encounter. It's almost like an RPG. It's like
Initial D
talking in town
did
and then
that.
The encounters.
Initial D did that to an extreme degree. Initially is mostly talking and school stuff, and then every several episodes there'll be the fight.
Yeah, the race.
Yep. Which always, there's an episode that leads up to the race, there's an episode that ends at the start of the race, and then there's an episode that is the race. So it's 3 to 6 episodes now of the fun stuff, and then 3 episodes of the race.
Right. The opposite of that would be like something like Yoa Pedal. Yoa Pedal is like, school, and then race. There's one race, and that one race goes on for fucking ever.
Yeah,
right? It just doesn't. It's like just chapters and they break that race down. So it's like, you would get like one chapter for like a whole months of school, right? And then you'll get one chapter for like just the start of the race.
Well, it was like Ofuri that would literally be like, here is every single pitch and every single at-bat for an entire 9 innings of baseball.
And then the same number of pages will be dedicated to like all of the school that happens between that game and the next game. Right?
So, yeah, this was... I'm glad it's been a while. It was almost kind of like when we started playing Quake 1 Deathmatch again recently, and it's such a like bog standard, simplistic, like no respawn, invincibility, like simple game. And yet it was almost refreshing how simple it was. I did have a feeling of how refreshing this was when I was reading it, and it was just like, yep, it's shonen. 10 pages still shonen. Oh, look, it just kept shonening. It was oddly refreshing, but not to the point that I want to read more of it.
Yeah, I guess it's like, it's like just a normal old burger, right? It's like,
well, not like a fancy burger at the Baroness, not like a McDonald's burger.
One where I'm going to recommend it and be like, you got to eat this burger. It was something else, but it wasn't a McDonald's burger that I would say poison, don't eat. It's like, if you're hungry, this will satisfy, but there's no particular reason to seek it out nor avoid it.
It's like a Shake Shack burger.
Yeah, it's like, there it is, available. Tasty, okay, if you got time and you really want to read a manga, Jujutsu Kaisen, it's a thing.
Yeah. So I guess we'll end on really quick because this show is a little shorter because there's not that much to say about this thing. The listener actually has a question that we could both try to answer really quickly.
Okay.
If we could pick a Western novel, to Western being a very vague category, to get an anime adaptation, what would we choose?
Okay, so I'm going to change your Western. I'm going to replace Western. Lately, I've learned a cool thing. We're going to replace the term Western with golf-playing nations.
I like golf-playing nations a lot.
Right, so that does actually include Japan, I guess, but not
But
really,
that's fine.
But yeah, but basically, the places on Earth where golf is played are the wealthy places, right? So, and mostly, Scotland, UK, US, right? So, what most people would consider West overlaps heavily with the places where golf is played.
I think mine's actually really easy. I would pick any culture series book, and my rationale is they're so weird that animation is probably the only way to do it effectively.
It's not a bad choice.
Also, I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah. Not having a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah, I went off the cuff. I'm sure I'm missing the Shattered Earth.
If I had more time to think about this, I could probably give a fucking terrific answer. I'll probably come up with a terrific answer very soon.
Probably like 10 seconds after I hit stop stream.
Right, but obviously any Neil Stephenson book is going to be on.
Ooh, Diamond Age, the anime?
Right, it's just, you could even just do Snow Crash. It's like, can you go wrong, really? It's going to work.
Snow Crash would just do it like Ghost in the Shell. Just go all in. Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just gets to, you get Production IG, obviously. No one else, right?
Yeah, I think I want Diamond Age over Snow Crash because Diamond Age has...
too, but what I'm saying is that Snow Crash couldn't go wrong.
No,
right?
Kind of like with the culture series. Doesn't matter which one. Just pick any of them.
Just pick any one of them. It'll be fine. Even like, Cryptonomicon, it'll be fine.
All right, I'll stop the stream right there. All right, that was an easy show. Let me turn off all my shit. I'm going to drop